Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live interview session here at the PAME Code Facebook group Season of Grit and Resilience. I'm Emmy, your host, and today our very special guest is a transformational coach, EFT, and Matrix Reimprinting practitioner. She believes everyone has the potential to change their world, and when they do, the whole world benefits. And she's here with us today to talk about how to build the resilience to balance business, life, and love. So without further ado, let's all welcome Samantha Dunnage. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Emmy. Hi, good morning. Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope the sun is shining where you are. It's bright here where I am at Kiel. But I was reading through your bio and I found it really interesting because I've never heard of a matrix reimprinting practitioner before.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
So Matrix Reimprinting is a fabulous technique that I use with clients, and it's a way of understanding your emotional triggers. So if say that you're having a situation where you're really stuck in life, you can't move forward with something, or you're constantly getting frustrated with a situation, what you're actually experiencing is an emotional memory. So it's not really about the situation that you're in right now. It's about something that's happened in the past. So with Matrix Reimprinting, you can very quickly tap into the emotions. So say you're feeling, you might just say, oh, I'm feeling really stressed. But actually when you tune into the feeling in your body, it might be that you've got this like crushing feeling in your chest that's actually fear. And then using the techniques, we can go back to when that was first created, and it could have been something very, very minor in early childhood. Because when we're very little, our survival instinct has to kick in a lot because we don't have a lot of resources. So it might have been that you were lost in a supermarket when you were 3 years old and you had that feeling of fear. And because you didn't resolve that event, you weren't able to deal with it. You kind of held it in your energy system all these years. And now when you feel like a similar situation where maybe you might be abandoned, or there's some threat to your survival, you feel the same feeling. So actually, like people who have a lot of anxiety, it's they've had a lot of these situations in their childhood that they've not recognized and realized and resolved. So it's rather than talking and talking a lot about the current situation, which isn't really relevant, it's about going back and resolving it.
Right. That's really fascinating. And as a transformational coach, this is what you do with your clients. And I assume that you focus mainly on helping business women. Is that correct? Or do you also help other people other than women in business?
Yeah, so women in business is my focus, but yeah, I will work with anyone who I feel a connection to, and I feel like that I can help. In terms of my marketing, that's who I focus on because I have the most experience in that area.
Right. And I actually am really interested with the topic of the interview today. It's about building the resilience to balance business life and love. Is this something that many of your clients struggle with?
Yeah, I think a lot of my clients are quite similar to me in that they've been high achievers. They've really been focused on their work. They love what they do. They're very passionate about their work, and it's quite easy to get very involved in their work and not really think about the rest of their life. And what I found personally was actually I felt comfortable in my work, and it was my way of hiding from other things I wasn't so comfortable with. So I was single for a long time because I had fears of commitment, fears of being abandoned. So in order to stay away from dealing with that, I would throw myself into my work. And yeah, we there's a lot of it's driven by guilt as well. This feeling that I should be working more, I should be achieving more. So no matter what you do actually achieve, you're always striving to do something more. And you're never going to reach that point. So it's about recognizing that where you are already is fantastic, and there are other areas of your life that if you enrich those and you put effort into the things that you enjoy and your relationships, that actually all levels of your life will become more satisfying, more fulfilling.
Right. But I can imagine that there might be some people who will resist this because if they've been so focused on their careers and they're so driven by their careers, they would refuse to try to balance their life, or maybe they could be in denial that, other aspects in their lives are neglected. So how do you challenge this, or does it have to be challenged if people are comfortable with just having their career boost and the other aspects of their lives are sort of dwindling? How does that work?
Yeah, and I think there are lots of people who are on that treadmill and they're more than happy to carry on with it. It usually gets to a bit of a breaking point where someone's health has suffered, or they've really had this realization that, hang on a minute, I'm however old and I've got no friends or no relationship. So they kind of have to have reached that realization before they're going to want to work with me or another coach.
Right. Yeah, because some people, yeah, they are in that denial. So they have to have that willingness and awareness as well that something needs to change.
Yeah, and I think at that point they're looking for somebody to offer them a different way of being, a different way of life. I mean, it's so conditioned in our society, and it's all tied up with money as well. And I think when people get to the goal that they set themselves, and then they don't feel fulfilled and they don't feel happy, that's when the disappointment and the shame kind of sets in, and they think, well, actually, if I just keep going, I thought I'd be happy here, and I'm not. So if I go for the next level, who knows what's going to happen? And maybe by that point they've reached breaking point anyway that I physically can't do this anymore. I can't put in more hours. I can't neglect every area of my life. So it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's really important, for change to happen. Sometimes someone has to reach that breaking point and it's almost like shaky. It's like, wake up, you need to find balance in your life. And when they come to that realization, what do you do to help your clients find that balance once again?
So there's two parts to it. There's the coaching part, which is figuring out what it is that they actually really do want. What is it they're striving for? What does this status, this symbol that they've been working for, actually mean to them? So it might be that when I reach £100,000 or £1,000,000, whatever it is, that I'll feel that I can be free. So what is it in them that they don't currently feel free? Because actually that's what they're creating in their life. So if we figure out what freedom would be to them and what's stopping them from doing that, it's usually guilt, shame, low feelings of self-worth. So once we figure out what they actually do want, it's then looking at everything that's blocking that. So this is where the tools come in, the EFT, the Matrix Reimprinting. It's working on their limiting beliefs that they're not good enough, they're not free to do what they want to do, and they have to feel guilty, and they have to focus on the work. So it's kind of coming from both angles. It's kind of having a vision, having an aspiration of this new life that they want to create, and then looking at all the blocks that currently keeping them stuck in their old ways.
Right. Yeah. So it's really helping them to understand what they want and understanding what's stopping them from getting to where they want to be. Because if you don't know where you want to go, how are you going to get there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of learning about yourself as well. I think we spend so much time focused on the external world and all these things we want to get, and actually we don't really even know what we want half the time. So it's about tuning into yourself and actually learning, what is important to me? What do I want from life? And being really honest with those things, because they can be suppressed for, your whole life. So it can take a bit of teasing out to actually get out what people want.
Right. Yeah, and it's actually also recognizing what matters to you in your life, what your priorities are, And if you can see that it's work, your family, your love life, or your social life, having all these in front of you, and really trying to capture, okay, what do I want to do this and with these, and what are my priorities, and how I'm going to balance all of these. But from your experience, what are the most common limiting beliefs that you've heard from people? How come they can't seem to balance their business, their relationships, and their life?
Yeah, so a lot of issues. I mean, I feel like we tend to attract people who have had similar issues to us. So for me, it's a lot of people around abandonment, and feeling like they're not worthy to be who they are. So they have to do something else to kind of justify their existence. It's like I'm only a good person if I'm working 10 hours a day. So yeah, there's that, and just those that it's the self-worth issues that are hidden by, I'm good at what I do, so that should fulfill me, but actually I feel empty and I don't understand why. But I'll keep striving and I'll keep doing what I think I should be doing. Maybe one day it will work.
So it's almost as if they're using work to fill the emptiness that they feel. Is that what it is? And when you say they feel unworthy, what does that mean?
Anyway, I could describe it as this feeling of I'm not good enough just being me. I have to be helping people. I have to be pleasing others and meeting other people's expectations, which is what we do in childhood. We're told what to do, where to go, and it's like we've never grown up from that space. But we're doing it to ourselves, and we're victimizing ourselves. We're being horrible, self-critical, self-doubting. People have huge potential to create amazing things in the world, and the people who really, really want to do that and are really passionate tend to have the most doubt about it themselves. So everyone else outside them can see they've got everything they need, they've got the gifts, they've got the skills, and yet they've got that feeling of I can't do it. It's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, it's actually something that I've written about in my second book, Imposter Syndrome Remedy. People are actually quite excellent at what they do, but they still feel as if they're not good enough, even if their track record shows that they're brilliant, but they still can't believe it. So how do you talk people out of this?
I don't know if you can talk someone out of it really, but helping them to come to the realization themselves, and actually looking back at going back into those past key events where they've had these beliefs created. Because as an adult, you can look at a situation in childhood, like maybe I don't know, you did a drawing at school and your teacher thought that it was wrong because you got the wrong colours, or you drawing outside of the lines. You can look at that as an adult with compassion for yourself and say, I was 4, the drawing was perfect. And actually by changing the beliefs, you automatically then change how you feel about yourself.
I see. So it actually makes sense. And that's where the Matrix Reimprinting goes into the picture. You have these memories, your past, you have your current beliefs that have been influenced by the past. And by looking at it from a different perspective, now that you're an adult, looking at it with more compassion, then you're more able to handle it more effectively.
Yeah. And these memories are not necessarily things that you consciously remember, and they might be so minor that you would never think to bring it up, if you're going to go into therapy, for instance. But by following the energy of the emotion, you can get back to these really early memories, even back into the womb. You're picking up all of this information from being in the womb with your mother. You're picking up all of her beliefs, all of her fears. So a lot of the time they're not even ours. There's something that we've been passed down through the generations.
Fascinating. I've never really heard of it before, but it actually makes sense, and it's really an interesting way to look at your current beliefs and re-imaging. Is it reimagining or reimprinting them in your mind? So that's really interesting, Samantha. Thank you for sharing that with us. So if people want to know more about your work or want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
My website is Samantha Dunnage. and there's one on there. Get in touch with me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Samantha. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And I hope people will, for those who need to hear that message, I hope that they will get to hear this and apply the lessons that you've taught us today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for your time as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Samantha. Bye for now.
Bye.